Hi everybody, it's Jessica, the Dollhouse Curator, and welcome back to the Curated Dollhouse. Today's video, we are going to be going through the second part of my doll collecting tips. So I did a video back in July covering some tips and tricks that I had learned since I'd been doll collecting that I shared. And there were a few more on the list that I didn't get to in that video, so I am deciding to do now. So the very first thing that I'm going to cover with you today is starting a doll collection. So I am not going to be giving you advice on what dolls to collect and all of that stuff, because to tell the truth, I really don't consider myself a doll collector. I do truly consider myself a curator. My collection tells a story of my life and kind of what I've enjoyed and how I have watched as Barbie has progressed in my lifetime. But I do think that the biggest thing that you need to do if you are looking to start a doll collection is to determine whether you are a doll collector or a doll hobbyist. I think these are two distinctly different things, and I will explain why. Doll collecting, in my opinion, is to see what's out there. Maybe you collect the holiday Barbies, you keep them in the box to pass down to your kids, or you collect different versions of different dolls that come out. Maybe you like the originals and then some repros that you get later on. Maybe those are in box mostly, and you may have some that you keep out, but most of your doll collection is probably in box, up for display. You're not using those to play with. It is the thrill of having the doll that really pulls you into it. Whereas for me, I consider myself to be more of a doll hobbyist. So I buy the dolls that I like so that I can create different scenes and make families and maybe tell stories and just enjoy the dolls overall. And one of the things that helped me kind of figure out this distinction for myself is because when I was in the military, because I've had a doll collection from the time I was a kid, you get dolls, you keep them. But when I was in the military, I continued to grow in my doll collection and buying dolls. And I remember numerous people would ask me when I would talk about my Barbies, "Oh, you're a doll collector." And I would be like, "No, I don't collect. I play with. It's the difference." Collecting to me was buying a holiday Barbie and putting it on a shelf and hope that it increases in value, maybe to one day pass down to someone. And I am a buy it in the store. As soon as I pay for it, I'm on my way out of Walmart and I'm already starting to open the box. And by the time I'm in the car, we combing hair. So that was the difference for me. So I would always tell people, no, I don't collect. I actually play with dolls. So I consider myself to be more of a doll hobbyist, and I get things as part of my doll collection that I can utilize as part of my doll hobby. A couple of those things are back here. So I have my 2/3, the full 2/3. I have the ones that I made over and the part that needs to be made over of that old school Barbie A-frame dream house. I love that. And then here in the center, I have a little makeshift diorama that I've created as well. This makeshift diorama is going to become something, and I am working on making over some of these other things. If I was a true doll collector at the level that I think of it in my brain, I would no way want to ruin this beautiful, even though I only got two pieces of it, but this dream house, because I'd want to keep it in as close to the original condition as possible. But as a doll hobbyist, I'm gonna break out some spray paint and some wood glue and some polyurethane, and I'm gonna turn it into what I want it to be. So that is number one. In starting a doll collection, figure out whether you want to be a doll collector where you are buying things that you think will increase in value, that you're going to be putting on a shelf and hoping to pass down or maybe sell later, or if you are going to be buying things that you can take out the box and play with and risk destroying just to enjoy a hobby. So that's number one. Number two, I want to cover buy versus craft. Whether you're a doll collector or a doll hobbyist, there are things that we want to see in our doll collections. And there are numerous ways that you can get stuff. You can buy it, you can make it, someone else can make it for you. And it's like those kind of one-of-a-kind type things. But you have to figure out where you're comfortable with some of the things on whether you're going to buy or you're going to craft. I have found a lot of people say, "Oh, crafting is so much cheaper. It's so much easier." No, it's not. It's not. It's not really. If you don't have the crafting chops that some of the people that I watch on YouTube have, you will drive yourself crazy trying to craft stuff. And that is what I initially did when I first started trying to craft closets and trying to craft beds and couches. And then I slowly realized that for me and my doll hobby, some things were easier to buy that I could enjoy in my doll space than to having to spend the heartache and stress and anxiety in trying to craft. So I'm going to give you an example. Right here, this is my homemade shelf. If you haven't seen the video I did on that, please check it out. It is our third video that we did on our girls' display shelf. But this is a kitchen that my hubby made me. I absolutely love it. It is wonderful. He made it out of wood. It has storage in there. And the entire kitchen is built around the Rainbow High Dollhouse stove. It was so easy for hubby to craft that kitchen for me and make it functional for what I wanted based on his skill set. For me, when I have tried making kitchens in the past, I get some templates from somebody on YouTube. I print them out. I may tape them to some foam board and hot glue some stuff together. It looks presentable enough, but there is no functionality that I'm trying to put in that. I just want something pretty to stand behind a doll to make it look like she's in the kitchen. So in figuring out where I'm going to buy or craft, a lot of things I have figured out are just easier to buy. So I have 2 of the 5-piece modern kitchens. If you're in doll collecting, I know you have seen this kitchen. It has a refrigerator and a sink and a stove. And my 5-piece set also has a dishwasher and a curio cabinet or a little wine cabinet to come with it. And for that, even though I had 2 kitchens that I like, I wanted a functional kitchen, and it made more sense for me to spend $35 to buy a functional kitchen that worked really great with my dolls than to buy a whole bunch of craft supplies and try to battle my way through making a working refrigerator or a working cabinets, a dishwasher that looked like it could open. It was just simpler to buy it. I feel like a lot of collectors are in that little limbo area because they haven't made the full decision on what is easier to buy versus what is easier to craft. So one of my tips for you all is to figure that out for yourself, and it will make your doll collecting life so much easier when you can say, okay, if it is this level of intricate, if it is this level of effort, there we go, then I am going to craft it. If it is this level, then I'm going to see if I can buy it. There are a lot of great places. Amazon, Temu, Mercari, AliExpress. There are a lot of different places that you can go where you can find things for your doll space that you will absolutely love and that are great. Also, you have Miniverse and Mini Brands. They are coming out with a lot of wonderful stuff. Yes, the Mini Brands home series are like 1/12 scale, so the microwave is like this small. But I also found a microwave at Hobby Lobby, and much easier for me to spend $3 to $5 on buying that microwave, which is actually up there in the kitchen, than to try to craft it and figure out how to make it work. So I hope that tip does help you. Next on my list, I have splurging versus overspending, and there is a difference in that. So if you are familiar with me, the Dollhouse Curator, you know usually I stick to a very strict budget. Usually my budget, other years, my budget has been $100 a month on my doll hobby, which is $1,200 a year. When times got a little harder in my house, I cut that budget in half and I cut it down to $50 a month. I will say I am pretty good about staying on budget because since I don't consider myself to be a doll collector as much as I do a hobbyist, going back to that tip number 1, I don't feel like I have to have everything. I buy what I want, when I want, preferably for a price that I am willing to pay. So it's easier for me to keep under budget because every single thing that comes out, I'm not looking to get. I mainly am a Barbie collector. So Monster High, I have some. Illy dolls, I have some. Rainbow High, I have some. But that sum is down to very, very small amounts. I don't think of Monster High or Illy or Monster High, Illy dolls, Rainbow High. I don't think I have more than 10 of those dolls. I don't, because I also periodically purge my collection as well. So if I'm not still in love with it, it goes to be a blessing for someone else. So for me, it's very easy to stay within my budget because I am looking for the things that I absolutely love and that needs to be a must-have for my collection in order for me to spend my coin behind it. There are times, though, that I splurge. So I will give you a wonderful example from this year. Earlier this year, they came out with the Barbie Basics You Create kits. There were 3 kits that came out, 3 different skin tones. Those kits, you get 3 dolls, 3 faces, 3 made to move bodies, which I absolutely love. They come in 3 different sizes. So it was either petite, regular, or curvy, or tall. You got 3 in there. They have new neck pegs, so it made it really easy to switch out the doll head. So maybe you wanted a doll curvy today, tomorrow you wanted her tall. And those kits came out, and I initially thought I was going to stick with my little budget of $100 a month, and I was going to get 1 kit. I got all 3. I did. I spent half of my yearly budget to get those kits because for me, it personified 100% what I do in my doll space. So for me, I keep doll heads separate from doll bodies. My doll heads are in my doll room closet, hanging on thread holders so that I can see my collection and choose which dolls I want to play with. I have doll bodies in a dresser, and then I can match skin tones and figure out if I want a tall or a curvy or a regular or a petite for that particular doll, and then they hit the doll displays and I do whatever I do from there. I initially did not think I was going to spend the $300 to get all 3 of those kits, but I did. That was a splurge, okay? Difference between a splurge and overspending is that a splurge is a once in a while thing. And for me, getting all 3 of those kits, that gave me 9 new dolls, 9 new bodies, all of those beautiful clothes that came with it, the wigs, everything. So that was a splurge for me. We call it a splurge and we go on. Overspending, I will give you an example from this year. In doing my doll room, I did not set a budget for my doll room because I wanted it to be what I wanted. And I spent quite a little bit of money on my doll space between dolls and items that I needed like shelving and rugs and TV. I spent, I'm gonna say right about $1,000. No lie. I spent right about $1,000 and put my doll room together. The shelves were about $280. My beautiful animal print rug that I'm sitting on right now was $250. The TV that we got for the doll room was about $250. So that's already $750. So the other stuff was in paint, knickknacks, trinkets, other little stuff. And then I added in a bunch of stuff that I had also. But that to me was overspending. I probably should have set a budget, but I really enjoyed just being able to put my doll space together how I wanted to. But now that that's over with, believe me, we are tightening the reins on my spending because I got to enjoy a little overspending for a minute, and then now it's time to pack it back up. There is a distinct difference between a once in a while splurge, maybe a new Silkstone doll and you're a Silkstone collector, or maybe a new Ken doll. I love a Ken doll, I do. So maybe a new couture Ken doll is coming out and you want to splurge and get that, versus every single month you are out spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on dolls. You may show it on your channel, or you may, enjoy it in the box for a couple of days, and then you're back out on the hunt looking for something else. There is a distinct difference, and as a doll collector, you have to really be mindful between when you are just splurging every once in a while and when you are consistently overspending. Next up, I want to talk through organization and storage. So one of the things that I pride myself on as a Dollhouse curator is being very organized when it comes to the way I handle my doll collection, because I don't want it to grow out of hand. So here recently, as I mentioned, we spent about 2 months, it's about 9 weeks that we spent on putting together my doll room after my oldest son moved out. And I used to be on a dresser in my living room, and I had 6 drawers to work with for storage. And then I slowly saw, as I started my YouTube channel, my collection just started to grow and grow and grow to where it grew into one of our closets. It was growing into my bedroom. I also had it growing into into my garage. And I had to step back a bit, and I had to say, okay, collection's getting a little bit out of hand. Let's go through, let's purge, let's really organize this stuff. And one of the key things that I found in organizing is figuring out what needs to be in your internal organization, your doll food, your dolls, your easy to get through, get to knickknacks and furniture that you're using consistently, and the things that need to be in external storage, your bigger vehicles, if you're like me, I have a couple of crafted kitchens, and I have a couple of kitchens that I have bought. If I'm not using one of my crafted kitchens or my other kitchens, those are out in my external storage. My RV, the airplane, external storage. That way the stuff I have in here is stuff that I can get to easy on hand. My doll clothes, my doll shoes, my dolls, little items that I can create my scenes. And then if it's time to completely tear everything down and readjust, then I'm going out to the external to figure out what I need to bring in. And a lot of the stuff that I am going to be taking down is probably going to be trading out into the external. So small, easy access stuff needs to be in your internal storage. Bigger stuff that you don't use as often, put that in your external storage. When you are organizing, you don't have to be hyper sensitive with organizing. You don't have to have every single cupcake muffin in a mead container together, but it does probably make sense to have you a place where you can store doll food, where you can store doll shoes, where you can store doll shirts, because that is the issue I run into also with my doll clothes. I try to keep them separated out between boys and girls. And then now as I've moved into the doll room and get my organization a little bit more under control and down to the level that the curator is wanting, then I am looking at, okay, here are my girl clothes. Yes, I have a division between my Chelsea dolls, between my Rainbow High, between Illy dolls and Monster High. That way I can find what I'm looking for easily. And then I have guy clothes somewhere else for the same reason. Next up, and I hope these tips are being beneficial for y'all, because this is stuff that I have figured out over years and years and years of doll collecting. But I don't want you to get into this hobby thinking you have to spend a lot of money, you have to have a million different crafts, or you have to know how to sew. I'm just now learning how to sew, things like that. You don't have to have all of that. You do not. These channels will trick you. Even my channel now can slowly trick you, because I have this beautiful doll room that I really love and enjoy. But I just got a doll room. So you don't have to have a doll room. You don't have to have a craft space. For many, many years, my doll room was a dresser that was in my living room, and my craft space was a little itty bitty table that I could plug up a hot glue gun and have enough room to cut some foam board. You can easily do this without having to have all of the extra. And I want to be one of the channels who's really hyping that idea, because that is what I want my channel to be about. Enjoying your hobby and your collection and not letting it overwhelm you. That takes me to my next point: collecting versus hoarding versus scalping. That is a serious thing that comes into play in the doll community, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me. Many of us consider ourselves to be doll collectors. I'm probably one of the few who says I'm not a doll collector. My collection tells a story, and I have a great collection, but I do my collection differently. So I consider myself to be a curator, and in my little collector versus hobbyist, I'm a hobbyist. Okay, I like to set up scenes and take pictures, and in my mind build stories and all of that. So collecting versus hoarding versus scalping. If I am a doll collector and a new doll comes out, for instance, the Rare Find Christie, I was excited to see that they were doing a Christie on a chase. I don't really enjoy the chase aspect of it, but I was able to get that doll. I really enjoyed adding her to my collection. So that is what I consider collecting. Hoarding is hitting up 17 Targets to buy every single Chase Christie so you can have in your collection and not leaving anything for anyone else. And then you're not willing to sell those things or to part with them. That is what I consider hoarding. You can definitely be a doll hoarder, most definitely, most definitely. And then scalping is the big elephant in the room. It bothers me when you have new dolls come out and you have those people, and it's not just new dolls. It is new mini brands, new mini verse, new anything that comes out for the doll community. Sometimes you have those people who will go to 17 or 18 different Walmarts and Targets or Macy's, buy up everything that they see, and then instead of me being able to go to Target, peruse the aisle, and pick out the doll that I want, it's not there. Now I have to go to eBay and hope that I am not going to have to spend 4 to 5 times the amount of money on a doll that I easily could have got at Target had I beat the scalper there. Okay? It happens on live when they have doll drops come out. I have seen some of the most infuriating. My Southern is messing me up. I have been very upset. See, when my Southern starts to mess with me, I just pick a new word. I do. Because it's going to keep messing with me. But I have been very upset when I have been on Instagram sometimes and I see scalpers showing that they bought 30 of a doll or they bought 100 of a doll. We have all seen it. That just takes the joy out of the hobby. But it also helps me stay on budget because guess what? If I'm not the first one to get there to get a rare fine Christie and I can't get her for 20 bucks like she would be available in stores, that doll is not going to be on my list for spending $50 or $70 to get. It's not. The Aaliyah doll went up to $200 or $300. LeBron James, $100 to $150 for a doll that came out at $55 and $75. So those are huge issues you're going to run into in doll collecting. So to prevent that, I'm really talking to the people who do doll hoarding and doll scalping. Don't do that. Leave something for the rest of us to enjoy because I should have the same exact experience to be able to go to Target, not just me, but also kids, because this hobby is really something that us adults have picked up because we have more disposable income. But really, a lot of what we're hoarding is for these kids. Come on, let's be honest. The Barbie aisle is not really an adult aisle no more. It's not. It's really for the kids. But you steal the joy from people when you buy everything just so you can turn around and try to make a huge, disgusting profit. But again, like I said, it helps me keep my budget under control because if I can't get the $20 Rare Fine Christie, we won't have a Rare Fine Christie. It's just that simple for me sometimes. And then the last thing on my list, making sure this is the last thing, is to have fun. If stressed, it has become a chore. So what I mean by that is that your doll hobby or your doll collection should be something fun that you enjoy, that is enduring to the soul. Yes, it is wonderful to get a dopamine high from going to Target or Walmart or Macy's or Hobby Lobby and finding that one thing you've been looking for that will just light up your doll space or that perfect doll to add to your doll collection. But y'all, this is meant to be fun. Even if you're doing it as a YouTube channel or as a creator on any other social media platform, if your doll hobby is getting to the point where it is keeping you stressed out, where you are more concerned about getting to Target once a day to see what's new so you can get a video out to the masses, if you are more concerned with getting on youloveit.com, which I spend a lot of time on looking for what's coming out, if you're more concerned about that than you are enjoying the hobby and enjoying the doll, it's not fun. If you get dolls and this doll you have searched for and you are wanting it so bad and you get it, and then the next minute you are on to the next doll, it's not fun. Okay, so if this doll hobby is getting to the point where it is stressful, where it is costing you too much money, where your focus is more on, I gotta be the first one to get it so I can get a video out on it, then you're losing the whole point that we have hobbies for. Hobbies are supposed to keep us less stressed. They are supposed to be fun. They are supposed to be enjoyable. If it's not, then now it's a chore. And chores, not fun. Nobody wants to wash dishes. Nobody wants to take the trash out. So if your doll hobby is turning into a chore, you're looking at it the wrong way. You're going about it the wrong way. Another thing I want to say about it being fun is also, I am a YouTube creator. Of course I am, because you're watching this video on YouTube. When I started my YouTube channel, I literally started a YouTube channel so that I could talk to someone about the fun, cool stuff that I enjoy doing in my doll space. My husband and my kids was tired of hearing about it. They don't care nothing about no Barbie, no Ken, no Skipper, no Midge. Now that we are doing this, I love my doll hobby even more, because even though I started this hobby to talk to other people because I was annoying my family with as much as I talk about dolls, now my family is even more involved in my doll hobby than ever. My husband makes me furniture. This entire shelf here pretty much is furniture that my husband has made me. My sons give me ideas for my dollhouse all of the time. My youngest son helped me put my doll room together after my oldest son moved out and I went on his own. My youngest son helped me put a lot of stuff in our doll room together. And my oldest son is like the one I go to for the final, like, how does this look? Is there anything missing? And guarantee you that boy gonna come up with some amazing idea. For instance, the jukebox for my retro diner, oldest son's idea to build it the way it was being built. Okay, and then my youngest son put his 2 cents in it as well, and then hubby put his 2 cents in it as well. I initially had the idea, so that small little craft became a whole family project. My doll hobby has actually brought my family more together, and we have all kinds of fun talking about the dolls. My kids, when they go out now, they know kind of exactly what to get mama because I have talked about it, or I've seen it, or I've been watching videos on it. It has become a family thing. So I enjoy my doll hobby even more now. But one of the other things I have to say is that when you are a creator, one of the things we also would like for our creativity to add to, especially when it comes to social media, is monetization. And that is one of the things that you have to think about is, are you doing this as a doll hobby, or are you doing this to get monetized? This is an extra tip tied into it should be fun. If you're doing it to be just a doll creator, then let your passion just naturally flow and grow. And I promise you, you will get the amount of subscribers, you will get the amount of watch hours, you will get to that monetization point. See how my Southern keep jacking me up? You will get there. If your point is to just get monetized, it's going to be a struggle because you're going to be more focused on what do I need to consistently do or change or not do or whatever to get the views instead of just letting it grow naturally. I cannot tell you why people show up to my doll channel. I love that you do. I highly appreciate it because my only goal with becoming monetized for my channel was just to get to the point where the income that I was spending out on my doll hobby, anywhere from $600 to $1,200 a year, could be made on YouTube instead of coming out of my paycheck. That's my only thing. Thankfully, we have made it there and I'm very happy, but I don't think people come to me to see what new doll is coming out or to watch every single unboxing because I don't do a lot of that stuff. I think people come to me just to enjoy someone who is enjoying their hobby and to get some cool ideas on stuff you could possibly try in your dollhouse. And that's the kind of channel that I want it to be because I just wanted to share what I was doing because I got great ideas from other channels and I thought I did cool stuff and I wanted to share it with you all. No different than me sharing my shelves or sharing some doll collector tips like we're doing now. All right, let me see if there's anything else on this because even though I said it wasn't, I got to check. I do not see anything else. I am going to hit one more thing, and that is my 3 rules that are kind of concrete for the Dollhouse Curator. And I said it earlier, is that I buy what I want, when I want, preferably for a price that I am willing to pay. I don't worry about what everyone else is getting in their dollhouse. I don't let people talk me into getting stuff that I may not have been interested in initially. And I do keep some hard, fast rules to help me stay on budget and to keep my collection how I want it. I'm not big on a side-eye doll, so a side-eye doll has to be fabulous to have me buy a side-eye doll. And the last side-eye doll that I bought, or one of the first, was Mr. Allen. It was a redhead, it was a Ken, it was a boy doll. You know I had to get that. So the side-eye doesn't bother me with that doll because it added to my doll collection in a way that I think is consistent and authentic to what it is that I do. Okay, that is it. I don't want to keep talking because you all know I talk a lot. But thank you for visiting the Curated Dollhouse today and going on this part 2 of doll collecting tips. I hope some of this will help you. We went over organization and storage. We went over splurging once in a while versus overspending consistently. We went through collecting versus hoarding versus scalping. Please, 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 y'all. If the doll is coming out, leave some for the rest of us. This is more for the scalpers than anything. Leave some for the rest of us because we all want to enjoy our hobby. We talked about buy versus craft, which is really important because, yes, you can spend $15 on craft supplies and make something, or you could have spent $12 on buying the thing and you would have had it. Okay, with a lot less headache and a lot less hot glue gun burns. I know I'm not the only one who gets them. And then the last thing one of the first things we talked about was starting a collection and determining, as part of you getting into this doll hobby, if you are a doll hobbyist who wants to enjoy and play with dolls and create different scenes and stories, or if you are a doll collector who wants to collect certain things that maybe you can pass on for later or hope increase in value and you can sell for a profit later on. There's all kind of different ways to do this doll collecting hobby. There are good ways, there are bad ways, there are fun ways, there are stressful ways. The whole thing I want you all to take from this today is to figure out what works best for you and enjoy it. Until next time, this is Jessica, the Dollhouse Curator. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. But if you don't do any of the 3, at least leave me comments and let me know what you think about part 2 of our doll collecting tips. And if you have any tips that can help me or the rest of the doll community, leave them in the comments and I will try to share those when we come back to doll collecting tips, which I think I am going to make a more consistent type video because we have new people joining us in this community every single day. And I want to make sure they start off on a great foot and not fall into some of the pitfalls that some of us other collectors have fallen into. Until next time, bye y'all.